request to speak is going to be, from my glasses, Brian. Regarding cameras at traffic lights?
Yes, good morning. Good morning. My name is Brian Kofke. I live at 1656 36th Avenue in Vero Beach, Florida. First off, let me just start with how I got onto this topic. My wife and I last year went up to Orlando and we took the turnpike, and every mile as we went, there was a post with a camera on the top of it. It had to be at least 40 or 50 feet high, and it went on for the length until we got to Orlando, and we just were puzzled. Where did all this money come from? Why was it necessary to have these cameras? So I started to delve into this, and I got deeper into it, and I started to wonder about the cameras here in Indian River County. And I must say, Chris Moore is a gem. You really have a really nice guy here. I've been talking with him, and he was very friendly. He let me come back and see what you all have. And I can say that in this county, what we have is quite benign. No one's freedoms or liberties are being intruded upon anyway by these cameras. It truly is just for traffic. So if anybody out there watching has seen the cameras and had concerns as I have, right now everything's good. The issues I have are what might happen in the future. And I would like you all to think a little bit about things that may transpire later on in the future. For instance, I went to high school with you, Mr. Davis, and back then we did not have any cameras anywhere around the school.
They even let us off campus for lunch.
Exactly, exactly. Now things are a lot different. Things seem to have changed quite a bit. And I know we live in a different world. However, I will remind you all that one of our founding fathers that started the first police station, he started the first fire station, he was a journalist, he was Benjamin Franklin, and one of his famous quotes was, "Those who would give up their essential liberties to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." So it is my concern that this isn't just a little nudge in the door. As I've come to find, the Department of Transportation funds a lot of the cameras around the county, around the state. That doesn't seem to be the case here. However, the cameras here were expensive. At the end of the year, you're slated for spending almost $7 million for the cameras and the system. But looking at the system here, wow, you really got a good one. And it's worth the money, I'd say. And it's going to work very, very nicely if you're talking to Mr. Mora. The issues I have, though, is that a lot of the places in the state and this countrywide, across the country, there are cameras coming up all over the place. It's not just the state of Florida. FEMA has allocated money to different departments of transportation across the board. And this money is being used to facilitate these cameras, and it's my concern that maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year, but maybe not 3 years from now, but slowly that door will start to open up where they'll start to use these cameras for law enforcement purposes. And I would like a pledge from you all that will have this open to the public. If it is the intention of the police department to try and have access to these cameras and to monitor our roads and just kind of watch us almost like a big brother, that's my biggest fear here, and that's why I'm here today. I would really like to have a pledge from you all that you would inform the public before going forward with something like that.
Okay.
Yes, Wesley.
Brian, it's good to see you again.
Yes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In fact, I know what you're talking about in Orlando. My bank got bought, and they changed, cards on me, and then I go through the toll system, and I learned that I didn't have a new. Basically, my son passed me out of money, and lo and behold, they sent me saying that I didn't pay a toll whenever I went through. Good thing they didn't have access to my bank account and go ahead and just debit it while they were there. So I understand exactly what you're saying, and the optical system that we have on our roads, and you are exactly right about Chris Moore. He does a phenomenal job. Thank you for that compliment. Is there for our synchro system and for the ability for us to keep traffic moving, and that is the intent, and that is that's about as far as I'd like to see it go. Also,
that's where it is right now, and I was very impressed with the system. And the money you spent was well spent. And Mr. Mora, as you said, is just a gem, and he took me back. He showed me everything that you all have, and just really, it was my concern. It doesn't go any farther than this. And it looks like there's always a potential for that, because there's always money and revenue in traffic citations, and that can just become a monster in and of itself.
Commissioner Wheeler?
Yeah, Brian, I just First, you know, when you're, and I agree with you. I remember, I think it was required of reading when I was in high school to read 1984, Big Brother, and so on and so forth. And it's a little spooky, and we're just about there, except I don't know that the government's violating those privacies. But really, people have, under our Constitution, no expectation of privacy in public areas. And probably there is hardly any place you can go anymore without being on camera. Whether it's at the mall, the 7-Eleven store, the gas station, public buildings.
Here.
Yeah, here, every place. So I understand where you're coming from, but that's the system that's been developed, and I don't know. I don't believe that it's, you know, it's not illegal. I think some of the things that I would agree with you, and I hate to see that abused. And it is a concern.
Yeah.
As
It's
well
one
as
thing to have cameras everywhere. I've come to accept that. It's been with my lifetime that this has happened. When you were in school and going to any stores, I'm certain it wasn't a Walmart or anything back then. I can remember in the 80s it was even a controversy over, no
I
offense.
just graduated in '94.
No, I liked it. That was good. That was good. I liked it. I put my shoe in my mouth there. I do remember growing up in the 80s, there seemed to be some controversy about just having the cameras at the Walmarts and at the Kmarts. Slowly, they just kind of worked that out as saying, oh, we need more security and use more security. And I agree with that. And I'm fine with the way the system is now. And as you mentioned, 1984 is definitely something to worry about. And if anyone in this room or seeing this hasn't read that book, you should read it.
Commissioner Fleischer?
Mr. Kofke, I appreciate your comments, and I did not have the opportunity to go to high school with you as Commissioner Davis did. I was in a much colder climate, and I just want to...
Older.
Colder. Maybe, yes, and older too. Older and colder. Thank you for clarifying that there, Madam Chair. In addition, in that climate, there are such cameras that are forward and rear looking. They're a different type of system. They take a photograph of the front of the car, the back of the car, the driver. There's a flash process, there's a notification, there's signs. It's a system that is unfortunately needed in such a large city. And I don't believe that we have those needs now. I think that the Sheriff's Office is doing a fine job in law enforcement and traffic enforcement and traffic safety. In addition, looking at our system, and I did have the same opportunity as you had, that is quite an impressive system that we can monitor the traffic, and Chris Maury uses that tool very wisely, and I fully support that tool being used so wisely that I don't believe that it can be crossed into a traffic enforcement tool. It's a different type of system. And that system would require a whole different embankment, and you most certainly would be duly notified if we should ever think about endeavoring into that area, because that would be a tremendous capital purchase that would not be something that we can just meld into the present system. The present system may be melded into law enforcement in the aspect of an emergency, where traffic engineering could monitor the flow of traffic. Example would be and during time, I hope we don't see a hurricane this year or many future years to come, but in the event that we do, we would be able to monitor and have the benefit of providing the best egress and access for the community at large. That's the only foreseen application that I see. But in answer to your question, it's a completely different system, and I'm fully aware of those when we go to Orlando to see and know that pictures are being taken of our license plates.
Thank you. Just to clarify, yes, right here, today, now, this county, you're doing a great job. It is benign. Right now, it is being used exactly for what you said, and I'm pleased to see that. And I'm here today to hope that it stays that way, and if it changes, as you said, you certainly would inform the public. Does anyone have any other statements?
Thank you, Mr.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you very much.